Learn English with simple stories. After listening, I will explain new words and give you questions to check your understanding. So, let's begin. Listen carefully. The eternal flower. In a magical kingdom, people had developed a special art of growing flowers. These flowers were not only beautiful, but they also had magical powers. For example, there was the golden flower that brought good health. The love bud helped keep love strong between people. The peace blossom could calm the hearts of the troubled. But all these powers came from one flower, the eternal flower. The eternal flower was planted in the heart of the kingdom. It was a symbol of immortality and eternal beauty. The flower could give life to all other flowers in the kingdom. It also brought life to the land and to the people. For centuries, this flower had kept the kingdom full of life. Hannah was a young girl with a deep passion for flowers. She lived in a small village near the kingdom. Since she was a little girl, Hannah had learned the art of caring for flowers. Her grandmother had taught her how to grow beautiful flowers from seeds. Each day, Hannah spent hours in her garden, nurturing each flower with love. She had never seen the eternal flower, but she had always dreamed of it. Hannah had heard stories about its power and beauty, and she longed to understand it. One day, Hannah's dream was shattered by bad news. Someone ran to the village and shouted, "The eternal flower is fading." Hannah's heart skipped a beat. Without thinking, she rushed to the center of the kingdom. When she arrived at the royal garden, she gasped. The eternal flower that everyone had believed was immortal was losing its shine. The bright petals were fading and the leaves had begun to wilt. It no longer glowed with the same light. Not only Hannah, but the people of the kingdom also rushed to see the eternal flower. They were absolutely worried. Without the eternal flower, the crops would not grow. The air seemed still, and the once lush gardens began to lose their color. The people felt hopeless, unsure of what to do. Without it, the kingdom's future seemed uncertain. Hannah ran back to her village, her mind racing with thoughts. "I have to help," Hannah whispered to herself. "I cannot let this flower die, it's the heart of our kingdom." Hannah made a decision. She would find a way to save the eternal flower, no matter the cost. From her grandma's story, she knew that there was someone who could help. There was an old man, a wise gardener, who lived in the forest. He was said to know the secrets of the flowers. He could speak to them and understand their needs. The next morning, Hannah set out on her journey to find the old man. She walked through the forest, the trees towering above her. The sun was shining, but her heart was heavy. She thought about the eternal flower, its fading light, and the people in the kingdom who were depending on it. I must find a way, Hannah said to herself. I must discover the secret to saving the eternal flower. Hannah's heart was heavy as she walked through the thick forest. The trees stood tall around her, their leaves whispering in the wind. She had traveled for days, hoping to find the old teacher who knew the secrets of the eternal flower. Her footsteps were soft on the forest floor, but her mind was filled with questions. What was happening to the eternal flower? Why was it fading? Could the man really help save it? After walking through the forest, Hannah reached a small clearing. In the middle of the clearing stood an ancient tree, larger than any tree she had ever seen. Beneath its branches sat an old man, his long white beard flowing down to his chest. He looked up and smiled warmly when Hannah approached. You have come, the old man said in a gentle voice. I have been waiting for you. Hannah bowed respectfully. I am Hannah, she said. I have come to ask for your help. The eternal flower is fading and the kingdom is in danger. Please, teach me how to save it. The old man looked at her kindly, his eyes full of wisdom. I know, he nodded slowly and gestured for Hannah to come closer. You are brave to seek help, child, he said. But saving the eternal flower is no easy task. Hannah listened carefully, her heart full of hope. The old man continued, I have lived for many centuries and I know the secrets of the flowers. But the key to saving the eternal flower lies not in magic or potions, but in the heart of the person who cares for it. He paused for a moment, looking at Hannah with deep thought. You must pass 3 tests, he said. Hannah's eyes widened with determination. What are the tests? She asked eagerly. The old man led Hannah to his garden deep in the forest. Before you can understand the eternity of flowers, he said, you must prove your ability. Plant a flower with your own hands, one that you truly love. Hannah nodded without hesitation. She knew that to grow a flower successfully, she had to understand it deeply. She carefully chose a small seed of a purple flower, one she had grown in her garden before. With skilled hands, Hannah gently placed the seed into the soil. She watered it carefully, making sure the soil was just right. Each day, Hannah came to check on her flower. She gave it water, protecting it from the harsh winds. She cared for it as if it were a treasure, understanding that it needed both time and affection. Hannah was not concerned with how long it would take. She knew that good things required patience and care. After several days, the first small green shoots appeared. The purple flower began to grow slowly, its petals beginning to form. Hannah smiled as she saw it bloom, knowing she had done her part with love and care. She stepped back and admired her work, feeling proud of her efforts. The old man approached her, his eyes full of warmth. Well done, Hannah, he said, smiling. You have passed the first test. Just when Hannah thought she had completed the first challenge, disaster struck. A strong wind suddenly blew through the forest and dark clouds covered the sky. Welcome to your second test, the old man said as he walked away. Before she could react, a heavy rainstorm poured down, flooding everything in sight. The rain was so strong, it felt like the heavens were pouring down their tears. Hannah looked at the purple flower she had just planted. The rain was hitting it hard, and the petals were bending under the weight of the water. The flower, which had just begun to bloom, was in danger of being washed away. Without wasting time, Hannah grabbed an old coat she had brought with her. She tore the coat into large pieces and spread it over the flower to shield it from the heavy rain. She then used some nearby branches and leaves to create a small shelter. The wind howled, but Hannah did not give up. She stayed by the flower, carefully keeping it protected, even as the rain continued to pour. Hannah's clothes were soaked and her hair was plastered to her face. Her hands were tired, but she did not stop. She knew this was the moment that would test her patience and care. The flower needed her now more than ever, and she could not let it suffer. With every passing minute, she whispered words of encouragement to the flower. Hang on, she said softly, we will get through this together. After what seemed like hours, the rain finally stopped. The clouds parted and the sun began to shine again, casting a soft golden light over the forest. Hannah slowly removed the raincoat and checked the flower. To her relief, the flower was still alive, though it had bent slightly from the storm. The shelter had protected it from the worst of the rain. The old man appeared from the shadows of the forest, having watched Hannah's efforts. He walked over to her, his face full of admiration. You have done well, Hannah, he said, his voice gentle but firm. You did not let the storm break your determination, nor the flower. Suddenly, the old man looked at her with a serious but kind expression. He nodded slowly, signaling that the time had come for the final test. Now, Hannah, you must answer this question about the flower. Of all the flowers you have planted, which one never dies? Hannah closed her eyes, recalling all the moments she had spent in the garden, caring for each plant with love and patience. And then, the answer came to her. Hannah opened her eyes and looked at the man. I have never seen a flower that never dies, she said. Even the eternal flower fades over time, but I believe I know the secret to keeping flowers blooming all the time. The key is to plant them with love and perseverance. The garden will always full of flowers if they are cared for with true love and dedication. It is love that keeps them alive, just like how we nurture the important things in life. The old man's eyes twinkled with pride as he smiled. You have understood the true nature of the eternal flower, he said softly. And you have learned the values they represent: love, sacrifice, and persistence. He paused for a moment, his gaze thoughtful. There is one secret I must share with you, Hannah, he continued. The eternal flower, even though it is magical, will eventually fade after 100 years. Hannah's heart skipped a beat at the thought of such a powerful flower fading. The reason your kingdom has always been able to keep the flowers alive, the man explained, is because every time the eternal flower begins to fade, someone like you comes to me. It is fascinating, the man said with a smile. It is never the kings or queens who seek me out, but always those who love flowers. Hannah felt a deep sense of gratitude. She realized that the future of the kingdom rested not on power or riches, but on the love and care of the people who cherished life in its purest form. With a gentle gesture, the man handed Hannah a small, delicate seed. This is the seed of the eternal flower, the man said. Take it and care for it with all the love, sacrifice, and persistence you have. Hannah took the seed in her hand, feeling its warmth and power. She knew that this flower, like the kingdom, needed love to survive. With a deep breath, she promised the teacher, I will protect it with my heart, just as I have learned. The man smiled, nodding his approval. Go now, Hannah, plant the seed and let it bloom, you are ready. Hannah walked back to the palace, her heart full of hope and determination. The king happily gave her the title of Guardian of the Flowers. He led Hannah to the garden of the palace and she started taking care of the new seed. As the days passed, the seed sprouted and the new eternal flower began to bloom. The flower grew tall and strong, its light shining brighter with each passing day. It brought new life to the land and the flowers began to grow again. The kingdom, which had once been in danger of losing everything, was now full of hope and love. Once more. Let me explain some new words from these stories. Kingdom. Kingdom. Magical. Magical. Develop. Develop. Art. Art. Flower. Flower. Beautiful. Beautiful. Magical power. Magical power. Calm. Calm. Immortality. Immortality. Eternal. Eternal. Beauty. Beauty. Life. Life. Fade. Fade. Heart. Heart. Decision. Decision. Perseverance. Perseverance. Secret. Secret. Gratitude. Gratitude. Ancient. Ancient. Wisdom. Wisdom. Storm. Storm. Shelter. Shelter. Hope. Hope. Guardian. Guardian. Rush. Rush. Heartbroken. Heartbroken. Shout. Shout. Gasp. Gasp. Gentle. Gentle. Lastly, let's answer the following questions. Question 1. What was the special art in the kingdom? Answer. The people of the kingdom developed a magical art of growing flowers that had magical powers. Question 2. What was the eternal flower? Answer. The eternal flower was a symbol of immortality and eternal beauty. Question 3. What was Hannah's passion and how did she learn about growing flowers? Answer. Hannah had a deep passion for flowers and she learned to grow them from her grandmother. Question 4. What news did Hannah hear that caused her to act? Answer. Hannah heard that the eternal flower was fading, which threatened the kingdom's future. Question 5. Where did Hannah go to seek help and who did she meet? Answer. Hannah went to the forest to find an old man, a wise gardener who knew the secrets of the flowers. Question 6. What were the 3 tests that the old man gave Hannah? Answer. The 3 tests were to plant a flower with love, to protect it during a storm, and to answer a question about the flower that never dies. Question 7. What was Hannah's answer to the final question and what was the lesson she learned? Answer. Hannah answered that no flower was eternal. The lesson she learned was that love, sacrifice, and persistence were key to keeping the eternal flower alive. The Undying Lantern. A long time ago, deep in the heart of a vast forest stood a very unusual lantern. It was said to never go out, no matter what. The light it cast was soft, yet bright enough to light up the darkest nights. People from nearby villages spoke of it often. They said it had the power to give anyone who approached it a special talent. Over time, many artists, eager for fame and skill, ventured into the forest. Some of them did indeed return, rich and successful, their talents shining brighter than ever before. But when other people followed, hoping for the same magic, the light would fade away. The villagers were both curious and afraid. The lantern seemed to give gifts to only a few, and no one knew why. In the village, there were 2 orphan children, a brother and a sister. They lived in a small cottage at the edge of the village. They had no parents to care for them, so they only had each other. The sister had big dreams. She wanted to become a famous singer known throughout the land. She loved to sing poems and she wanted to share them with the world. She dreamed of making enough money to build a beautiful house for them both. So the older brother worked very hard every day. He woke up early in the morning and worked in the garden. He sold goods in the village market to make money. The brother worked tirelessly to help his baby sister achieve that dream. He found her the best teachers in the village. He made sure she had everything she needed to practice. He never complained, always thinking of his sister's future. He believed that one day she would be the most famous singer in the kingdom. Every night, he would hear her singing in the house, filled with hope. He smiled, knowing that every sacrifice he made was for her happiness. Over the years, the sister learned from the best teachers in the village. She studied with the best vocal coaches and even learned some dance. But as she grew, she realized she needed more than what the village could offer. One day, she went to her brother with a bright idea. "I want to study with the best teacher in the land," she said excitedly. The teacher was the most famous singer in the kingdom, known by everyone. Her voice had enchanted kings and queens, and she had performed on the grandest stages. The brother looked at his sister with love and care. "If you think this is the right thing to do, we will go," he said kindly. "We'll travel to the capital and learn from her. I will do anything for your dream." So the two siblings packed their bags, ready for the long journey ahead. They crossed hills, valleys, and fields, walking for days. They were both tired, but they knew their dream was close. On their journey to the capital, the weather suddenly changed. A heavy rainstorm poured down, making it impossible to continue. The brother and sister looked around for shelter. After walking for a while, they found a hidden cave in the forest. It seemed safe, so they decided to take refuge there for the night. Inside the cave, they noticed something unusual. There, glowing softly in the corner, was a mysterious lantern. It was brighter than anything they had ever seen. And its light filled the cave with warmth and peace. Both of the siblings immediately realized, "This is the famous undying lantern." The sister, curious and excited, stepped closer. She felt a strange pull toward it, as if the lantern was calling her. The brother, cautious, warned her to stay back. But she couldn't resist. As she reached out to touch the lantern, a soft voice echoed in the cave. "Ah, travelers," it spoke, its tone gentle but commanding. "Why have you come to this forgotten place, where the light never dies? What is it that you seek in the heart of this forest?" The siblings stood frozen, their eyes wide with awe. They could hardly believe what they were hearing. His voice grew quiet, filled with love and sadness. "My sister always has this dream, and I've always promised her that one day I will help her achieve it. But the truth is, we've never had enough, we've barely gotten by. But then he looked at his sister, his heart aching with the weight of their struggles. But together, we can change that. I will do anything to see you succeed, no matter how hard the road is. For a moment, the lantern remained silent, as if considering them carefully. Then, with a soft hum of light, the voice returned. If you wish, it said, I can test your talent. Write 3 lines of poetry, and I shall see if your heart holds the spirit of an artist. The sister nodded slowly, her heart beating faster with each passing moment. The lantern's glow flickered brightly, and in a deep, echoing voice, it spoke. In the quiet of the night, the stars above softly sigh. The sister, her heart racing with excitement, replied quickly but softly, her voice carrying the weight of her words. As dreams are whispered to the winds and the moon listens by. The lantern crackled joyfully, its light dancing with a golden glow as though it were smiling. Very good, the lantern said, its tone now brighter and more joyful. Now, let us continue. It spoke again, its voice gentle yet powerful. In the garden, flowers bloom with colors bright and fair. The sister, her eyes bright with inspiration, added her own words with ease. And each petal tells a story of love that fills the air. The lantern hummed with approval, the crackling sounds becoming softer, as if it were laughing in delight. Well done, the lantern said with warmth in its voice. Now, one last line to complete the tale. The lantern's light flickered for a moment, then a deep, ancient voice echoed through the cave. There's something more precious than gold. More valuable than jewels, more timeless than old. The sister felt a surge of emotion in her chest, knowing this was the final line. Her heart raced as she glanced at her brother, who stood beside her, his face filled with hope and quiet strength. She took a deep breath, her voice trembling slightly but filled with love as she spoke the final verse. The greatest treasure in my life is the love I share with my brother. A bond so strong no force can smother. For a heartbeat, the cave was silent. The air hung heavy as if waiting for the world to move again. Then, the lantern's glow intensified, its light brighter than ever before. The crackling sound became more joyful, almost like laughter, filling the space with warmth and approval. You have passed the test, it whispered. Your family love shines brighter than any treasure I have ever seen. The siblings stood there, completely stunned. The sister, still trembling with excitement, stepped forward. Will you really give me talent like the stories say? The lantern's light flickered and a soft, musical laugh echoed in the cave. You already have great talent, child, it replied, its voice warm and kind. You don't need me to give you anything. The sister, still puzzled, asked, but if you don't give talent, why do so many come to you? The lantern's voice deepened, wise and thoughtful. I don't give talent, it said, those who come already have it. What I offer is something more important, recognition of their gifts. The siblings listened, understanding beginning to dawn on them. Art isn't just about talent, the lantern continued. Talent, though valuable, is only a small part of the journey. The true power comes from within, your heart, your soul, your love. The sister listened closely, the meaning of the words beginning to unfold. Love is the true power. It is the spirit of the artist that breathes life into their work. Without love, even the most skilled artist is empty, for they will lack the passion that moves their art. Thank you, the sister whispered, her voice full of gratitude. The brother nodded, his eyes shining with pride. Together, we can do anything, he said. I will do this for her. The lantern's light flickered again. Though I cannot give you talent, I can still help. Take this. With a flash of light, a beautiful carriage appeared. A bunch of food and fine goods appeared beside it. You may not need more talent, but you will need help to reach the capital, the lantern said. Take these gifts, and may they serve you well. The siblings were amazed. They thanked the lantern, feeling their hearts swell with joy. The next morning, the rain finally stopped. The sky cleared and the sun shone brightly. The siblings climbed into their carriage. They were ready to continue their journey. Their hearts were full of hope and gratitude. They traveled quickly, passing through the countryside. Soon, they arrived at the grand capital. The sister's voice caught the attention of the royal court. She was invited to perform at the palace. Her talent was praised by everyone. She became a famous singer, loved by all. The brother used the lantern's gifts wisely. He started a business and became a merchant. His success grew and he built a strong foundation. They both thrived thanks to hard work and love. Above all, although the siblings became successful, they never forgot where they came from. They built a beautiful home, one they had always dreamed of. Each evening, they sat down together to share a meal. Their laughter filled the room as they talked about their day. Every night, they prayed for their parents, honoring their memory. They knew that their success wasn't just about talent or fame. It was the love they shared, the bond they had with each other. Let me explain some new words from these stories. Unusual. Unusual. Lantern. Lantern. Flicker. Flicker. Soft. Soft. Bright. Bright. Talent. Talent. Eager. Eager. Venture. venture, rich, rich, successful, successful, shining, shining, curious, curious, afraid, afraid, orphaned, orphaned, cottage, cottage, dream, dream, famous, famous, puzzled, puzzled, tirelessly, tirelessly, sacrifice, sacrifice, realize, realize, excited, excited, cautious, cautious, hum, hum, approval, approval, stunned, stunned, tremble, tremble, wise, wise, thoughtful, thoughtful, amazed, amazed. Lastly, let's answer the following questions. Question 1. Who are the main characters of the story? Answer. The main characters are a brother and a sister, orphaned children living in a small village. Question 2. What is special about the lantern in the forest? Answer. The lantern is said to never go out, and it has the power to give special talents to those who approach it. Question 3. What is the sister's dream? Answer. The sister dreams of becoming a famous singer and wants to share her poetry with the world. Question 4. How does the brother help his sister achieve her dream? Answer. The brother works hard every day, finding the best teachers for her and supporting her practice. Question 5. What does the lantern test the sister on? Answer. The lantern tests her talent by asking her to write 3 lines of poetry. Question 6. What is the true power that the lantern speaks of? Answer. The true power comes from within, heart, soul, and love. It is love that breathes life into art. Question 7. How do the siblings succeed after their encounter with the lantern? Answer. The sister becomes a famous singer and the brother uses the lantern's gifts wisely. Becoming a successful merchant, they both thrive through hard work and love. The Talking Mountain. A long time ago, there was a village next to a tall mountain. People called it the Silent Mountain. No one really knew what the special name meant. The elders said that long ago, the mountain could talk. But one day, it fell silent, just like any other mountain. So the mountain that was once the Talking Mountain became the Silent Mountain. To the young people, it was nothing more than an old legend. In their busy lives today, they didn't care about the mountain at all. In that quiet village, there lived two sisters. Their names were Rose and Dahlia. Rose was the older sister. She was kind and took great care of the house. Dahlia was younger. She was always full of strength. They were very poor and had no parents left. They wore old clothes and lived in a broken cottage. However, they worked hard without complaining at all. They grew vegetables in a small garden to sell. They also made simple crafts with their bare hands. Even when tired, they never asked others for help. In fact, they could not ask for help at all. Some villagers said they bring bad luck. Others just looked away and said nothing more. Everyone was busy with their own lives and work. One day, Rose became very sick and pale. She could no longer walk or eat anything. In the end, Rose could not even speak. She had to lie in bed the entire day. Dahlia felt scared and very helpless. She ran to ask for help in town. But the village doctor quietly shook his head. He said there was nothing he could do. Dahlia cried for hours, feeling deep sorrow. Then, a memory returned to Dahlia's mind. She remembered the story Rose often told her. It was about the mountain that once spoke. It is not a myth, Rose used to say. The mountain can still talk if you truly listen. If your heart is open, it may answer. Dahlia looked up at the silent mountain above. It stood tall, touching the sky with clouds. I must try, Dahlia said to herself. She packed a small bag for the journey. She stepped out and began to climb. The mountain path was steep and winding upward. The sharp rocks cut at her tired feet. Step by step, Dahlia repeated with trembling breath. Dahlia walked for many long days alone. Her bread and water slowly ran out. Her legs were tired and her lips dry. She felt hunger and cold deep in her bones. Worse still, she realized she was lost. She did not know where to go next. She had no map, no path, no sign. I'm so foolish, she cried through the wind. That evening, as the sky turned dark blue, Dahlia reached a small cave near tall trees. Big stones surrounded it like ancient guardians. The cave looked quiet and safe for the night. Dahlia entered slowly, shivering from the cold. She sat down and unwrapped her last bread. Then she closed her eyes and began to pray. "Dear God, please listen to me now," she whispered. "My sister is sick and all alone at home. I don't know what to do anymore." Her voice cracked and tears ran down her face. She felt small beneath the sky and the trees. Suddenly, a deep voice echoed through the air. "Why are you here, child?" the voice asked. Dahlia sat up and looked around quickly. "Who are you?" she asked with trembling breath. "I am the mountain," the voice calmly replied. Dahlia's heart pounded as she bowed her head. "I'm sorry," she said, holding back her tears. "My sister is sick and I am so afraid. Please, I beg you, help me save her." The mountain was quiet for a long moment. Then, its deep voice echoed once again. "I will give you 3 questions," it said. "If you answer them with truth and heart, I will help you. But if your answers are wrong or selfish, you must leave." Dahlia took a deep breath and nodded. "I understand," she said. "I will try my best." First question. A tree has no voice, yet it speaks. It has no hands, yet it gives freely. What is the tree offering you, child? Dahlia looked around at the tall, quiet trees. The leaves danced gently in the mountain wind. "The tree gives us shade on hot days," she said. "It gives fruit to feed the hungry. It gives clean air for all to breathe. We are blessed to have trees." "Good," the mountain replied with a softer tone. Second question. The river runs quickly and sings as it flows. It never rests, not even for a moment. What lesson can you learn from the river? Dahlia immediately thought about a small stream near her house. She loved watching it flow over rocks and around roots. "The river teaches me to keep going forward," she said. "Even when things are hard, we must not give up." The river gives water to plants, animals, and people. It asks for nothing in return, just keeps giving. "Very good," said the mountain with quiet pride. Third question. The bird flies high and sees many places. It explores the world, yet always returns to the tree. Why does the bird come back home? Dahlia closed her eyes and remembered her village. She thought about Rose. She whispered, because the tree is its home. The bird sees the world, but love lives in the tree. No matter how far we go, we come back to love. The mountain was silent again, as if thinking deeply. Suddenly, Dahlia heard a soft rustling nearby. She turned and saw a small squirrel approaching her. The little creature was holding two round fruits. At first, Dahlia thought they were shiny red apples. But no, these were unlike anything she had seen before. Their skin shimmered faintly with golden hues. The mountain's voice returned, calm and gentle. Eat one, and your strength will return immediately. You will have the power to walk home fast. Give the other one to your sister, Rose. She will be healed the moment she eats it. Tears welled up in Dahlia's eyes once again. She held the fruits close and bowed deeply. Thank you so much, she whispered with gratitude. May I know something before I leave? Why did you stop speaking to the village? There was a long pause before the mountain answered. I was once the guardian of your village, it said. I gave rain for the farms and the fields. I brought flowers to bloom for the children's joy. I loved the village deeply, more than they knew. But as the village grew bigger and people grew busier, they wanted more things, more gold, more success. They stopped helping each other with open hearts. They no longer cared for the trees and animals. I closed my voice and hid my signs away. Dahlia bowed deeply. Thank you, thank you. She ran down the mountain without stopping. Dahlia reached home as the sun was rising. She took out the second glowing fruit. Carefully, she gave it to her sister to eat. Rose took a small bite and swallowed slowly. After a while, her eyes opened wide with wonder. Dahlia held her close, smiling with relief. You will be fine now, I promise. The next morning, the villagers came to see Rose's magical recovery. The sisters told them the story with honesty and heart. The people were quiet as they listened to her words. People smiled and cried softly, touched by what they had forgotten. In the days that followed, the village began to change. People helped each other again, like in the old stories. They planted trees in every yard and along the roads. They cleaned the river that had once been forgotten. They stopped to listen to the wind and birds again. For the sisters, Dahlia took the other fruit seed. She and Rose planted both glowing seeds with care. They watered them and whispered gentle hopes each day. Soon, something magical began to grow from the earth. A tree with golden leaves rose gently toward the sky. Its trunk shimmered softly in sunlight and in moonlight. And many who passed by the golden tree swore they had heard a soft, distant singing. The elders nodded and whispered with quiet certainty. These are the same melodies we once heard long ago. The very songs the mountain used to sing. Let me explain some new words from these stories. Elder. Elder. Cottage. Cottage. Myth. Myth. Whisper. Whisper. Guardian. Guardian. Shimmer. Shimmer. Trembling. Trembling. Ancient. Ancient. Helpless. Helpless. Journey. Journey. Faith. Faith. Kindness. Kindness. Melody. Melody. Fruit. Fruit. Wind. Wind. Softly. Softly. Recovery. Recovery. Forget. Forget. Forgive. Forgive. Glowing. Glowing. Silence. Silence. Squirrel. Squirrel. Promise. Promise. Hunger. Hunger. Blessed. Blessed. Song. Song. Voice. Voice. Clouds. Clouds. River. River. Shade. Shade. Lastly, let's answer the following questions. Question 1. Who are the main characters of the story? Answer: Dahlia and Rose, two poor sisters who live near the silent mountain. Question 2. Why did the mountain stop speaking to the villagers? Answer: because people became too busy, forgot kindness, and stopped caring for nature. Question 3. What did Dahlia have to do to receive help from the mountain? Answer: she had to answer 3 questions with love and care. Question 4. What did Dahlia say the tree gives to people? Answer: shade, fruit, and clean air to breathe. Question 5. What lesson did Dahlia learn from the river? Answer: to keep moving forward and give without expecting anything in return. Question 6. What did Dahlia and Rose do with the magical fruit? Answer: they planted the seeds and a golden tree grew from them. Question 7. What happened to the village after Rose was healed? Answer: the villagers became kinder, helped each other, and listened to the mountain's songs again. The Golden Heart Necklace. Once upon a time, in a small village, lived a silversmith named John. John had a lovely daughter, Emma. They lived together after her mother passed away. John worked hard every day in his small workshop. He crafted beautiful jewelry for the rich people in the village. But John's heart was not at peace. He worked day and night, focusing only on his business. Emma often felt lonely. She missed her mother and her father's attention. "Dad, when will we spend time together?" Emma would ask. John would smile and say, "Soon, dear, I am busy now." But soon never came. John only cared about his customers, not noticing Emma's sadness. One day, a wealthy merchant came into the shop. The merchant asked for a golden heart necklace for his daughter. John immediately agreed to make it. The merchant was happy and paid well. John began working on the necklace, hoping to finish it quickly. But after a few days, he fell sick. He could not work on the necklace anymore. He felt weak and tired, unable to move. Little did he know, during those sick days, everything around him changed for the better. Thanks to his dear little daughter. On the first day, John was very weak. He tried to stand, but his body wouldn't move. He realized he could not finish the gold heart-shaped bracelet. He lay in bed, frustrated that he couldn't work. Emma, seeing her father in pain, decided to help. She knew how important the necklace was to her father. "I'll do it, father," she said, determined. John looked at her, surprised, but nodded weakly. She carefully took the tools from her father's desk. She looked at the design and began working slowly. Her hands trembled at first, but she focused. She worked on the necklace with great care, bit by bit. As hours passed, John lay in bed watching her. His heart swelled with pride as he saw how determined she was. "You're doing great, Emma," he whispered, though she couldn't hear him. She was so focused, she didn't even notice his gaze. As John lay there, he realized how much his daughter had grown. She had quietly taken on the family's work and carried it forward. In the past, he had been too busy to see it. Now, he understood that she had always been there, supporting him. The next day, John slowly started to feel better. He was able to sit up in bed and look around the room. Emma had been taking care of him day and night. "Father, how do you feel today?" she asked, looking at him warmly. "I feel better, Emma, thank you for everything," John replied softly. She helped him sit up, and they shared a quiet moment. "Tonight, let's have a family night." John looked at her, curious. "What do you mean?" "I will invite our relatives. We will cook and eat together," she said. John agreed, and Emma ran out to call for the other family members. After some hours, many people came to their house. They made their favorite dishes and set the table. The soft light of candles filled the room, creating a warm atmosphere. They sat together, sharing stories and laughing as they ate. "I used to think work was everything," John said quietly. Emma smiled, looking at him with understanding. "But now, I see it's not," John continued. "Family is what truly matters." As they continued to eat and talk, John felt something he hadn't felt in a long time. It was peace, warmth, and love. His heart was full, and he realized how much he had missed these simple moments. Finally, John slowly recovered from his illness. After days of rest, he was able to sit up fully. Emma had been a great help, and now he was ready to get back to work. Soon, John returned to his workshop. His tools and workbench were just as they had been before. Emma had moved aside, expecting him to take over. But John stopped her and said, "Wait a moment, Emma." "I've been thinking," John said slowly. "I don't want to work alone anymore." Emma looked at him with surprise. "What do you mean?" "I want to make the necklace with you," John replied, smiling. So they sat together at the workbench, ready to start. John took the tools, and Emma worked alongside him. As they carefully shaped the gold, they talked and laughed. They shared stories and thoughts about life, family, and love. "I've missed so much," John said, looking at Emma. "There were times when I was too busy to notice the little things." Emma smiled. "We all missed you so much, Dad. Sometimes we felt you are not even here." They continued working, and the sound of their tools filled the room. As they worked, Emma shared stories about what had happened when he was busy working. "You missed our family nights," Emma said softly. "I started cooking, and we had dinner together every evening for a long time. We laughed, shared stories, and talked about life. I wish you were there with us." John listened, his heart filled with warmth. He had missed so much, but now, sitting next to Emma, he realized what truly mattered. It wasn't the work, it wasn't the customers. It was the love, the connection, and the family. After they completed the golden heart necklace, John smiled and looked at Emma. "Take this to the noble family, Emma," he said. Emma nodded and carefully packed the necklace. She left the workshop, feeling proud of their work. But when she returned, John had a surprise for her. He smiled warmly and handed her a small box. "Open it, dear," he said with a gentle laugh. Emma slowly opened the box. Inside was another golden heart necklace. "This one is for you," John said softly. "For you have a heart of gold." Emma's eyes widened in surprise. "Dad, this is beautiful, but why?" she asked. John's voice was filled with love as he replied, "You showed me what truly matters: love, family, and care. You've been the heart of our family all along." Emma hugged her father tightly, tears in her eyes. "I've learned so much from you, Dad," she whispered. "We've learned together that family is the greatest treasure." Let me explain some new words from these stories. Silversmith. Silversmith. Lovely. Lovely. Pass away. Pass away. Workshop. Workshop. Craft. Craft. Heart. Heart. Peace. Peace. Customers. Customers. Lonely. Lonely. Attention. Attention. Merchant. Merchant. Golden. Golden. necklace, necklace. Tired, tired. Weak, weak. Bed, bed. Frustrated, frustrated. Help, help. Determined, determined. Careful, careful. Pride, pride. Gaze, gaze. Moment, moment. Family, family. Laugh, laugh. Peaceful, peaceful. Warmth, warmth. Heartwarming, heartwarming. Reunion, reunion. Treasure, treasure. Lastly, let's answer the following questions. Question 1. Who are the main characters of the story? Answer: John, the silversmith, and Emma, his daughter. Question 2. What did John focus on? Answer: He focused on his business and customers. Question 3. What was the golden heart necklace for? Answer: It was a special order for a wealthy merchant's daughter. Question 4. What did Emma do when John got sick? Answer: Emma took over her father's work and made the necklace. Question 5. What did John realize after spending time with Emma? Answer: He realized that family was more important than work and customers. Question 6. What did John decide after recovering from his illness? Answer: He decided to work with Emma and not alone anymore. Question 7. What surprise did John give Emma at the end? Answer: He gave her a golden heart necklace, saying she had a heart of gold. The lonely mountain climber. Justin was a skilled mountain climber with many years of experience. He had climbed many high peaks and reached many summits. In the beginning, Justin climbed with his group of friends. But slowly, his friends couldn't keep up with him. They were not as good at climbing and they fell behind. Eventually, Justin began to climb alone without his friends. He thought it was easier to climb alone. He believed his friends would only slow him down. Justin continued to climb alone for a long time. At first, he enjoyed the challenge and the peace. But after some time, things began to feel different. Justin realized he did not feel as happy as before. He had reached many peaks, but he still felt empty inside. He wanted to feel the excitement of reaching the top again. So, Justin decided to climb one of the highest mountains. He believed this would bring back the thrill he had lost. First of all, Justin prepared his gear to climb the mountain. As he packed his things, he began to think about the past. He remembered his friends from the old days. For example, when he packed his snacks, he missed one of his friends. She would always bring delicious food for everyone. Another friend was always full of fun stories. And one friend was always there to support everyone when things got tough. Those were the days when they climbed together, laughing and sharing moments. But now, Justin was preparing everything by himself. He could feel the difference. It wasn't the same anymore. But he soon forgot about them and started his journey. On the way up the mountain, Justin looked at the view around him. The mountains and forests didn't look as beautiful as they once did. The once vivid colors of nature seemed dull and lifeless now. He felt like the mountain was just another place to conquer. There's something missing, something that gave the place colors, joy, and happiness. He asked himself, am I really enjoying this? But he quickly shook off the thought and kept climbing. Justin couldn't let himself admit that something was missing. He focused on his goal, ignoring the growing emptiness within. But deep down, he knew something wasn't right. After some other hours, Justin had climbed halfway up the mountain when he saw a group of climbers resting. They were laughing, chatting, and helping each other. Each person took turns offering water and sharing snacks. One of them noticed Justin and called out to him. Hey, are you climbing alone? Justin turned and saw a familiar face. It was someone he had met during his early climbing days. The climbers keep inviting Justin to join their group. Don't be shy, join us. We have enough food for everyone. Justin paused for a moment, feeling unsure. He thought about it and shook his head. No thanks, I can manage on my own, he said. He believed that he didn't need anyone's help to reach the top. But as he watched the group, he couldn't help but notice their joy. They smiled and laughed, sharing their experiences and challenges. He felt a strange feeling inside. For a moment, he wished he could feel that happiness too. Justin continued on his way, but as he climbed, something changed. The joy and energy of the group stayed in his mind. Even though it was brief, the shared experience made him feel better. He smiled, surprised by how different it felt to be with others. The mountain didn't seem so lonely anymore. As Justin lost in his thoughts, he accidentally slipped and fell. In that split second, he managed to grab onto a large rock, preventing himself from falling into the abyss. However, he twisted his leg badly and couldn't continue his climb. His heart raced as he realized he was unable to move forward. Feeling frustrated, Justin decided to head to the nearest ranger station to get his injury treated. At the ranger station, Justin was shocked to see someone he hadn't seen in years. It was an old friend, Jimmy, from his past climbing group. Jimmy was now working as a forest ranger. Justin couldn't believe his eyes and felt a wave of nostalgia. They greeted each other with surprise and smiles, both happy to see a familiar face. After Justin shared his frustrations and struggles, Jimmy listened carefully. "I understand what you're going through," he said. "I felt the same when I started climbing alone. It's hard to find joy when you're isolated." With a deep understanding of each other's feelings, Jimmy offered Justin a solution. "Let's climb together again like we used to." Justin hesitated but agreed, feeling a spark of hope rekindle inside him. The two friends began their climb together once more. They supported each other, encouraging one another with every step. As they made their way up, they recalled the old days, laughing and reminiscing. Justin felt a deep sense of happiness he hadn't felt in a long time. The climb was no longer about reaching the top, but about the joy of sharing the journey with someone who understood. In the end, due to Justin's injury and the fact that Jimmy wasn't an expert climber, they couldn't reach the summit. But despite that, it was the most enjoyable climb Justin had experienced in many years. Filled with laughter, teamwork, and shared moments. Justin realized that while conquering the mountain was a personal achievement, true joy comes from sharing the experience and having companions by his side. Success is never complete without connection and friendship. After this journey, Justin decided to write a letter to reconnect with his old climbing friends. He hoped to reunite with them soon, share new adventures, and never forget that true joy comes from having companions by his side. Let me explain some new words from these stories. Skilled. Skilled. Climber. Climber. Experience. Experience. Summits. Summits. Peak. Peak. Isolated. isolated, frustration, frustration, nostalgia, nostalgia, encouraging, encouraging, rekindle, rekindle, journey, journey, companions, companions, tension, tension, shared, shared, frustrated, frustrated, enjoyment, enjoyment, obstacle, obstacle, empathy, empathy, joyful, joyful, reunite, reunite, memories, memories, support, support. Lastly, let's answer the following questions. Question 1. Who is the main character of the story? Answer: Justin, the mountain climber. Question 2. Why did Justin start climbing alone? Answer: because his friends couldn't keep up with him and he thought they would slow him down. Question 3. How did Justin feel while climbing alone? Answer: he felt empty inside and didn't enjoy the climb as much. Question 4. What happened when Justin met the group of climbers? Answer: the climbers invited him to join them, but he denied. Question 5. What caused Justin to stop climbing? Answer: he slipped and hurt his leg, making it impossible to continue the climb. Question 6. What did Justin learn from his experience? Answer: he realized that true joy comes from sharing the experience with others, not just from reaching the top alone. Would you trade family for fortune? A long time ago, in a small, humble house, there lived a family that was very poor. But the father, the mother, and their young daughter loved each other dearly. Each of them had their amazing talents. The father was very smart, always coming up with brilliant ideas. The mother was very skilled and careful, able to create beautiful handmade products. The daughter, though young, was eager to help and contributed in every way she could. One day, they decided to start a small business to earn money. The father looked for old, broken items and brought them home. The mother fixed and restored them into new and beautiful crafts. The daughter helped by introducing their goods to everyone in the village, spreading the word about their hard work and making sales. Soon, they became rich and successful merchants, beloved and respected by everyone in the village. Their hard work and unity had paid off, and they were admired by all for their success and strong family bond. However, after the family became wealthy, everything started to change. The father, once warm, became distant and focused only on work and finances. The mother, once dedicated to her family, spent all her time buying luxury items to learn more about the art of craftsmanship. The daughter, absorbed in her expensive travels, no longer cared about the family or made time for them. As a result, the family grew apart, with little communication or shared moments. Each person living in their own world, disconnected from the others. One day, the family needed to travel to another land to expand their business. They hoped the journey would bring new opportunities for wealth. But soon, obstacles began to emerge, revealing the cracks in their relationship. Firstly, they stopped at a village to rest and trade goods along the way. The father disagreed, as he wanted to continue on their journey and make deals quickly. He believed the sooner they moved on, the better their chances of success. The mother was more interested in resting, wanting to enjoy the scenery. She believed that experiencing the beauty of nature would enhance her artistic skills. The daughter, on the other hand, saw the village as an opportunity to find new personal ventures. She wasn't as interested in the family business and was more focused on her own aspiration. Each of them had different goals and no one could agree on the next step. The disagreement quickly escalated into a heated argument. Then, after a long day of working and traveling, the family was exhausted. They found a cave to rest. However, none of them wanted to spend time with the family. The father was driven by his need to continue making money. He busied himself with thinking about new trade ideas to make in a new country. Feeling anxious about missing opportunities if they stayed in one place too long. The mother still couldn't stop thinking about her art. Instead of resting, she pulled out her supplies and began to work on a piece of artwork, determined to keep creating. The daughter, feeling disconnected from the whole business, wandered off on her own. She didn't think it was important to be with her family anymore, and instead took the time to explore the forest nearby. In the end, no one reached out to one another, and the gap between them only grew wider. Finally, when they arrived at a small town and needed to decide where to set up their shop, the family faced another disagreement. The father wanted to buy as many items as possible from the local market, hoping to study them and improve their products. He believed that understanding the local goods would give them an edge in business. The mother, however, had a different idea. She wanted to organize a grand event to showcase her beautiful artworks, hoping to attract attention and impress the townspeople with her skill and creativity. The daughter, on the other hand, had her own plans. She was keen to expand their trade by making new friends and working with new people, wanting to find her own path to success. Each member had a different vision of how to move forward, and they couldn't agree on a plan. The tension between them grew, and instead of working together, they found themselves too tired and frustrated to find a solution. On top of everything, they realized they were no longer a united family. And without harmony, they would lose both their wealth and the love they once shared. After facing too many conflicts and obstacles, The family decided to stop and sit down together for an honest conversation. The father admitted that he had become too focused on making money and had neglected the importance of family. He recognized that his obsession with money and success had made him forget about the emotional needs of his loved ones. The mother realized that she had been too absorbed in her art and had stopped paying attention to the feelings of her husband and daughter. She understood that her desire for perfection had led her to ignore the simple moments. Her daughter shared that she had become too focused on the world outside. She admitted that she had forgotten how important her family was. All three of them realized that love and connection in the family were far more important than money or outside success. What was meant to be a business trip turned into a family vacation. They spent their days relaxing, enjoying local food, and dancing together to the rhythm of the music. At night, they laid under the stars, laughing and talking, reconnecting in a way they hadn't in years. The trip, originally filled with tension, became a beautiful memory, showing them that spending time with loved ones was the most valuable thing of all. From that moment on, their family returned to a place of unity and understanding, rebuilding their family and their wealth. They had learned a lesson: family is the foundation of everything. No amount of money or success could replace the love and support that family brings. Let me explain some new words from these stories. Humble. Humble. Brilliant. Brilliant. Skilled. Skilled. Careful. Careful. Handmade. Handmade. Eager. Eager. Hardworking. Hardworking. Successful. Successful. Beloved. Beloved. Respected. Respected. Admired. Admired. Distant. Distant. Absorbed. Absorbed. Disagreed. Disagreed. Tension. Tension. Exhausted. Exhausted. Frustrated. Frustrated. Harmony. Harmony. Obsession. Obsession. Perfection. Perfection. Conflict. Conflict. Reconnect. Reconnect. Vacation. Vacation. Relaxing. Relaxing. Aspiration. Aspiration. Opportunities. Opportunities. Adventure. Adventure. Impress. Impress. Unity. Unity. Foundation. Foundation. Lastly, let's answer the following questions. Question 1. Who were the main characters in the story? Answer. The father, the mother, and their young daughter. Question 2. What did the father, mother, and daughter do to make money? Answer. They started a small business, with the father finding old items, the mother restoring them, and the daughter helping to sell them. Question 3. How did the family feel when they became rich and successful? Answer. They were admired and respected by the village, and their hard work paid off. Question 4. What happened after the family became wealthy? Answer. Each family member became focused on their personal goals, and they grew distant from each other. Question 5. What caused the family to have disagreements during their journey? Answer. They had different ideas about what to do. Father wanted to work, mother wanted to focus on art, and the daughter wanted to explore. Question 6. What was the turning point for the family during their trip? Answer. They had an honest conversation and admitted their mistakes. Question 7. What did the family do at the end of their trip? Answer. They relaxed together, enjoying local food, dancing, and reconnecting under the stars. They realized that spending time with family was the most valuable thing.
Grandma's Garden of Clues. Once upon a time, in a small peaceful village, there lived a grandmother who loved her family very much. She always made sure her son and his wife were healthy and happy. She cooked delicious food and told her grandchildren stories before bedtime. She loved her children and grandchildren with all her heart. As time passed, her children and grandchildren grew older. They left the village to work, study, and live in other towns and cities. They became busy with their own lives. They did not have much time to visit Grandma anymore. Grandma often felt lonely in her small house. She missed her family very much. One warm summer day, Grandma had an idea. She decided to have a special party in her garden. She sent invitations to all her children and grandchildren. She hoped everyone would come. When the day of the party came, the family arrived at Grandma's house. They were happy and excited to see each other again. They went to the beautiful garden where Grandma often spent her time. But Grandma was not there. The garden was quiet and empty. On a small table, they found a little note. The note said, "If you want to find me, follow these 3 riddles to the place where I am waiting." The family looked at each other, curious and ready for the challenge. First, the mother picked up the first clue on the table and read it aloud. "Where I planted many tiny seeds. Under the shade of trees, water gently feeds. The family listened carefully but still looked confused. They didn't know where to go first. Suddenly, the daughter spoke up. She was usually quiet and never spoke much, but now she surprised everyone. With a calm voice, she said, "It must be the old well near the big tree in the garden." The mother, amazed at how smart and clever her daughter was. They all walked together toward the old well. When they arrived, they looked around and saw the clue hanging on a branch of the big tree near the well. "They have finished the first riddle." Then, the father handed the family the second clue and read it slowly. "Step across the little bridge so fine, where the breeze is cool and the flowers shine." Without hesitation, the son ran toward the small wooden bridge nearby. The bridge was narrow and crossed over a gentle stream. With careful steps and confidence, the son crossed the bridge without falling. Father looked at his son with surprise and pride. He never expected his son, who was usually quiet and loved reading books, to be so good at sports. The family clapped and cheered for him happily. The son noticed something shining inside a nearby bush. He carefully reached in and found the third clue hidden among the flowers. Holding the final clue, the son read it carefully. "Under the full moon's silver light, I wait for you by the plum tree's side." Mother and father looked at each other with warm and happy feelings. They remembered their very first date, many years ago. They had sat together under this plum tree, and they had talked and laughed while sitting on this old stone bench. That moment was very special to them. It was full of love, hope, and promises for the future. Now, standing there again, they felt those happy memories come alive. The plum tree and the stone bench reminded them of how their family had grown over the years. The family walked slowly to the plum tree. There, sitting quietly on the stone bench, was Grandma. She smiled happily when she saw them. Grandma said, "Welcome home, my dear family. I am so happy you followed the clues and came together. I hope these riddles helped you understand each other better." The father looked around at everyone and said softly, "Wow, it's been such a long time since we all truly connected like this. The three riddles showed me that each of us has our own stories. The stories that I did not remember or notice at all. How come I did not know about my own family?" Everyone smiled and slowly came together in a big, warm hug. They felt the love they had missed for so long. Mother wiped a tear and said gently, "Family is the most precious treasure we have, and we must always cherish it. No matter how busy or far apart life takes us, our love and the time we spend together are the greatest sources of strength and happiness." The grandson hugged Grandma tightly and said, "I missed you so much. The granddaughter smiled and said, "Thank you, Grandma, for the fun game." Everyone felt happy and warm inside. Today, they learned a very important lesson. Family is one of the most precious things in life. No matter how busy or far apart they are, family love always connects them. They promised to spend more time together and listen to each other more. From now on, they knew that keeping family close was the true happiness. Let me explain some new words from these stories. Peaceful. Peaceful. Grandmother. Grandmother. Delicious. Delicious. Grandchildren. Grandchildren. Lonely. Lonely. Bright. Bright. Invitation. Invitation. Excited. Excited. Garden. Garden. Quiet. Quiet. Riddle. Riddle. Curious. Curious. Clue. Clue. Shade. Shade. Confused. Confused. Surprised. Surprised. Clever. Clever. Hesitation. Hesitation. Narrow. Narrow. Gentle. Gentle. Confidence. Confidence. Pride. Pride. Cheer. Cheer. Shining. Shining. Memory. Memory. Promise. Promise. Treasure. Treasure. Cherish. Cherish. Lastly, let's answer the following questions. Question 1. Why did Grandma decide to have a special party? Answer. She wanted to bring her family together because they had grown busy and distant. Question 2. What did the family find on the small table in the garden? Answer. They found a little note with the first riddle. Question 3. Who surprised the family by solving the first riddle? Answer. The daughter surprised everyone by solving the first riddle. Question 4. How did the son show his skills when solving the second riddle? Answer. He carefully crossed a narrow wooden bridge with confidence. Question 5. What memory did the parents recall when reading the third riddle? Answer. They remembered their very first date sitting under the plum tree and on the old stone bench. Question 6. What important lesson did the family learn at the end of the story? Answer. They learn that family love is precious and that spending time together and understanding each other is very important. Today's story is very meaningful, right? Do you like listening to short stories? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Now, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Leave a comment on what you would like to learn next. See you next time. Goodbye!